the historic ceasefire in Gaza Strip. I call it historic because it's been happening throughout history, the ceasefire. Every couple of months or a couple of weeks, whatever it is, there's some sort of conflict, there's killings on both sides, it doesn't go anywhere, and then we condemn this, we condemn that, then we have a ceasefire, and we pretend like we got something accomplished. So here's the latest ceasefire that we accomplished.
The ceasefire will start at 9 p.m. Cairo time. Today, Wednesday, November 21st, 2012.
So I don't know. What did you think the big news of this? So you made the point that they've been doing this since you said 88. I think since 1968.
Yeah, it's been going on forever, but I picked 1988 because back then Cenk and I were in high school. And in one of our classes, we should discuss this issue ad nauseum. Back then it was the Intifada,
really?
And it was Palestinians on the West Bank throwing rocks and Israelis responding with bullets and rubber bullets. And we just had these raging debates on who's right, who's wrong. And my point to you off air today is that nothing has changed in 25 years. Nothing has changed, except for the name PLO is now replaced by Hamas. But other than that, it's the exact same fact pattern, exact same stuff happening back and forth, where these Palestinians engage in these idiotic, stupid, ineffective attacks on Israeli land, where they shoot these pointless rockets, and they fire off like 200 rockets, and they kill like 3 Israelis, and then Israel responds with just a massive strike back. They drop the hammer, and then 1,000 or so Palestinians die. Right. And then everyone, wrings their hands like, oh my God, this is a tragedy, what can be done? And then the US gets involved, and the US condemns, terrorist acts. They always talk about Israel's right to defend itself. Right. And then they, go on and on about how the US has unyielding and unbending support for Israel. And then there's some sort of ceasefire, and then things kind of quiet down. It gets out of the news cycle, and then it starts up again. It's been 25 years of my lifetime, and I don't see any path forward for any improvement. Do you see anything different,
No,
Jimmy?
I don't see I think the problem is that we talked about this before the show. Is that there's leaders that don't want peace. And there was a time when there were, a while ago, when Yasser Arafat was still with us, and there was close to a peace deal. And then a lot of people say that he screwed it up on purpose because he needs to have that war to keep his power. Right now they're saying the same thing with the Likud party in Israel, right? That Benjamin Netanyahu, and they don't really want peace, that they really want war. And if there's peace, that's the end for their reason for being, right? So
that's right. So the Likud party, they exist for the purpose of waging war against the Palestinians. They exist for the purpose of keeping the rest of Israel safe. And imagine a world where there was complete peace in the Middle East.
Right.
Likud has nothing to offer.
Right.
Their platform is based on the never-ending encroachment of Israeli settlements into the Palestinian territories. Their platform is all about keeping Israel safe from the terrorists. And if that all goes away, then there's no point for their existence. Same thing on the Palestinian side. Now, Hamas was elected in a democratic election. They beat Fatah. Fatah probably would have won if there was peace in the Middle East, but Hamas won because there isn't peace.
So there was a democratic election.
Mm-hmm.
The Palestinian people elected Hamas, right? So they're elected.
That's
now,
correct.
The United States says, we want democracy, except when democracy doesn't work out like we like. And so it didn't work out like the United States wanted this time. They elected Hamas. So Hamas is officially a terrorist organization. The United States labels them as a terrorist organization. So even though democracy happened and they elected them, the United States says, we don't recognize your democracy because it didn't work out the way we wanted. So even right now, during this crisis, Hillary Clinton is not speaking to the leader of Hamas. She's speaking to the PLO leader. Right, and yeah, I know. Isn't that's how they're getting this They're brokering this deal. Isn't that crazy?
Well, it's a crisis of leadership there because, like I said, the Likud party is interested in war. Hamas is interested in war, and the U.S. is also interested in war.
Yes, yes.
Because the U.S., I mean, we have a lot to gain. Well, not we as in the collective we, the United States.
You mean the military-industrial
complex. We send $3 billion of aid to Israel every year, and that goes to them in the form of arms. And who makes all that money? The defense contractors.
Right.
So there is a massive incentive to keep fomenting this conflict. I mean, if it all goes away, all that money goes away.
Right.
So you got to follow the money.
Right.
And the way the United States has been dealing with our policy in the Middle East has been just atrocious, because we are always on Israel's side, always. And I have a real problem with that, because imagine a parent with 2 children, and imagine that you as a parent is always on the side of one kid. Well, that kid has an incentive to be a complete asshole. I mean, there's no downside to not being an asshole, because dad's always on his side anyway. The other kid also has an incentive to be an asshole, because it doesn't matter how good he is, dad's never on his side anyway.
Right.
So that perpetuates the conflict, perpetuates the violence, and it keeps the status quo where people who are benefiting continue to benefit. That, to me, is the real problem of the problem in the Middle East. Now, we need to have real leadership. There has to be a 2-state solution. I mean, it's crazy to not have that.
So
the Palestinians are crazy to pretend that they can erase history and wipe Israel off the map. I mean, they're crazy to think that. And Israel is crazy to think that they can indefinitely occupy people forever.
Right. You
need to have a 2-state solution. It has to be driven by the U.S., and we are failing miserably. At every level of making that happen.